Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Kangaroo Court. With me, as always, is Tiffany. Hello.
Hello.
So I guess we're basically done with our Casey coverage now. We will watch snippets of the documentary down the track, but I think we thought it'd be nice to have a little bit of a break from Casey because she is quite a lot and she's pretty infuriating.
Absolutely. Yeah. We've heard enough of her stories. So
We
before we listen to another one, we figured we would move on to someone else and take a look at an interrogation today.
So to take a break from looking at one really, really awful person in Casey Anthony, we're going to have a look at another really, really awful person in the form of Sheriff's Deputy Jaylen Fleer. So this guy was caught using Snapchat to contact minors, soliciting them for sex, and eventually pled guilty to those crimes and is now spending 12 or so years in jail. There's a brilliant interrogation of him, where the interrogator did a really good job of establishing rapport and that kind of thing. So we're going to look through that. But to give a little bit of background on who this guy is, there are a series of text messages out there which I'll link in the description. We're not going to talk through them, but definitely give that video a watch. But essentially, over Snapchat, he spoke to, I think it was 41, did you say? 41
There were
different.
41 that he made contact with.
he,
Yes.
he made contact with on Snapchat. There was several that he actually met in person and paid for um, sexual favors, I guess, for want of a better word. Um, and so, yeah, so a string of charges came out of this, which in the end he was charged with 20 counts, could have had a maximum of 18 years in jail. Prior to the victims having to testify in court, he pled guilty, and so the judge gave consideration there that he spared them that kind of thing. So he got just over 12 years. He's still currently in prison, 12 years, and then will be on the sex offender registry for the rest of his life.
Yeah, so this happened back in 2020.
Mm.
It was right after the pandemic started.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a short period of time. It only happened, it seemed like a couple of weeks, and then the call went in to the Crime Stoppers. And the person who called into the Crime Stoppers was a friend of one of the victims.
Exactly right. The this one of the victims had met with him and had received money to perform oral sex on him, which she did. And she told her friend about this, and said, "Look, don't tell anyone." She plans to do it again because she wants to make more money. But yeah, she called Crime Stoppers, and yeah, what a hero that friend was, because it'd be that kind of thing where at that age, you'd be worried about losing your friendship and that kind of stuff, but did the right thing, and not only for her friend, but to get this guy off the streets and away from hurting anyone else, because he wasn't showing any signs of stopping.
No, I think there would have been a lot more on the way.
Yes.
So, he certainly did. And one of the more horrific, I guess you can call it, if we were going to discuss the severity of the things that he was attempting to do, was that he had reached out to a 12-year-old
Mm-hmm.
and was interested in finding someone even younger. So he was asking these girls if they had any friends that were younger that were interested in older guys. And he wanted to have a threesome with a 9-year-old. After that person had said that she did know somebody. She did have a friend that was younger.
It's absolutely vile. And, like I said, we're not going to go through the text messages because they're there to be read. But, in that same conversation with that 12-year-old that he was asking, do you have any 9-year-old or younger friends? He's saying things like, when she agrees to meet, oh, it's just so fucking hot that I'm going to have sex with a 12-year-old and this kind of stuff. Like, just a real piece of shit. So, yeah, I think let's start checking out the interrogation. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this I'll also link to this video in the description if you want to watch it without our interruptions and reactions. But yeah, so this is Deputy Jaylen Fleer, and yeah, he is at work currently, and he's been called into this interrogation. So that's where we pick it up from.
Hi. Thank you very much. Hi, Jaylen. I'm Detective Bratton. Nice to meet you too. Hi. So, I'm a detective at the Family Protection Unit with the City of Chula Vista Police Department. I work alongside Detective Kale here. We're actually doing an investigation on some allegations that we have to obviously look into. You're a law enforcement officer, so you know that we look into everything equally. I want to make sure, though, before we get started, that you're aware that this is a voluntary interview, and so I just want to make sure that you're aware of all of those things. And so I'm going to just have you, and this is one of those forms that they give everybody, so it doesn't really fit. So if I just happen to cross out as I'm going along.
Okay.
So this is a really important part.
Mm.
Right off the bat, she's saying this is voluntary.
Yes. So, if he's smart, his reaction would be, fantastic. Well, I'll see you guys later.
Right.
I'm going to talk to a lawyer, and we're not doing this. But he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. And also very soon they'll kind of go on into more detail about that. You're not under arrest, you're not being detained, all that kind of stuff. And once again, he doesn't leave. And what a question I kind of have is that, I mean, as we will find out, like they've got all the evidence they need, really. Like this is, I wonder if this would be a case of, similar to Stephanie Lazarus, which that is another interrogation we're going to look at, because that's another fantastic one. Whereas, if he was to say, okay, well, if I'm here voluntarily, I'm going to leave, at that point, does he get arrested, kind of like Stephanie was? Because I couldn't imagine them just being like, okay, cool, see you, Jaylen.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. I mean, they already knew what was going on. Obviously, they have to investigate it. So he's not under arrest at that point, probably because they don't have enough. They don't have that probable cause to put him under arrest. But certainly, and we'll get to other parts of this interview as well, that they were probably going to be heading down that road. Certainly because they already knew what they wanted to look at.
Yep.
They already knew the reasons why that they were calling him in. And, they get a little bit more specific as far as accounts that were used and things like that, and also information that he was sharing. But it likely they just didn't have enough at that time in order to arrest. But likely, I would imagine they would have arrested him.
I think so. Given the the warrants they already had, and a lot of this was like they know a lot, as he comes to realize there, and it's a kind of around that. It's like, is there anything like his opportunity to be like, oh yeah, that I know that this, I guess any reason why all these accounts that seem to be in your name with your phone number and your email address, is there any reason why they're not you sending this stuff? But it'd be interesting to see if he did say that. But it's also an interesting, because this isn't uncommon from everything I've seen with police, will not invoke a lawyer, because it's that kind of, I guess, they don't want to be seen as guilty by their peers and that kind of stuff, whereas they would think that if I invoke a lawyer, everyone's going to know I'm guilty. Like, that seems to, like, I haven't seen a lot of interrogations of police where they've lawyered up straight away.
Correct. Yeah, I think that that happens. As far as not wanting to appear guilty,
Mm.
also not knowing what they know.
Yep.
What do you know? You tell me what's going on here. So there's certainly that, and also he wasn't read his Miranda warning because he's not under arrest.
Yep.
So perhaps if he was placed under arrest at that point, then he may have asked for a lawyer.
Yep.
But at this point, he's just thinking this is probably some internal investigation
Mm.
into some allegations. And, I mean, what do you need a lawyer for at
Yeah,
that point?
yeah, exactly. And he doesn't know. And so if this is just an internal investigation, and he thinks he can talk his way out of it or whatever, if he's lawyered up, then the rest of his department are going to be looking at him like, well, there's a reason you needed a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So that is interesting. But yeah, like what he should be doing is just getting up and walking out, because it never goes well if you don't. Not that
No,
I
it
think anything
doesn't.
would have changed. Like, even if you got a lawyer right now, like, they've got all the
Mhm.
evidence they need, but still.
Sure, he would have been arrested.
Mm.
Yeah. But he wouldn't have been talking,
No,
which is, what he's setting himself up to do right now.
exactly.
So it says, thank you for coming voluntarily to, and then we'll go ahead and just put the admin office.
Okay.
All right. Oh, and of course, you know about body worn. So yeah, this is my body worn. Of course, it audio and video records everything, and there's also an audio recorder here just in case.
Okay.
Office at Central Jail. To share your side of the story with us, of course, in regards to the report that we're investigating.
Okay.
You're not under arrest, and you are not being detained.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have you go ahead and write it in. And you can initial or say yes.
Just
whichever.
initial.
Yeah. And if you would just go ahead and read the next one. And then just sign right there under your name. Is that the correct spelling of your name?
Yes, it is.
All right, so just for record's sake, I'm going to go ahead and read what you did initial. So you understand that you're not under arrest and you are not being detained. You understand that you're free to leave at any time. There will not be any locked doors keeping you from leaving. As you notice, that one doesn't have a lock behind you.
Yeah.
You can choose what questions you want to answer. And you can choose to leave or let us know, and we will assist you with the exit. Although you're probably going to be the one assisting me, because I don't know my way around here.
Okay.
So you understand, like, if you, as far as like leaving, you have access points and you know how to leave or where to go.
I understand.
Okay, very cool. So I know that I have a lot to delve into, but I really want to get to know you first, if you don't mind.
Definitely.
Okay. So I'm going to lean back and get comfortable, just because. Are you comfortable? Do you want to take off your duty belt?
No, I'm good.
Okay, because I understand that, the duty belt gets pretty annoying pretty quickly, so if you want to take it off at any point, you
No,
let
I'm
me know.
skilled.
So, of course, I've done my research and investigations and everything, so I've learned a little bit about you, but I'd like to learn a little bit more, if that's okay. I found that you went to Santana High School?
I did, yes.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about your upbringing?
Yeah, so.
He's probably wondering,
go to Santana State.
what did you look into? Like, how much did you look into? How much do you know about me? And why? When did all of this start?
Exactly right. And like, I love this technique that the interrogator's using, is that, let's have a chat about your high school, and, I want to know a bit about, like, because he must be just wanting to scream, what the fuck are we here for? How much do you know? How many, like, because he must have a strong suspicion what this is, but he'd be wanting to know, how deep am I? Like, how many victims have come forward, this kind of stuff. But he, he plays along. Like, but every answer he must be having to just show me the evidence. I need to know right now how fucked I am. But, he's going to sit there and talk about his high school and his baseball career and all this kind of stuff, because, like, he's in my opinion, he's doing everything he can to look calm. Like, he wants to be like, this is just a routine thing. I haven't done anything wrong. Happy to help you out. But geez, internally he must be redlining.
Yeah, absolutely. He has to be because, he's going to be thinking like, oh my gosh, what were the messages that they saw? I
Yep,
thought I did everything to make sure that they didn't happen the way that they did. Like they were supposed to disappear.
yep.
Who came forward and all of that. So his mind is definitely racing and he's trying to think, but he's very calm appearing. And
Absolutely.
so he's just going to be like, yeah, I'm going to cooperate. There's nothing to see here, you guys, even though I'm sitting across from two detectives.
Exactly. We're all
No problem.
we're all good. We're just old school friends, you know.
Right,
Both
exactly.
both athletes. Like we've got a lot in common here. We might even grab some lunch
Mhm.
after this. I'm a
Mhm.
bit hungry.
Santana High School, played sports, football, baseball. Went to Grossmont College for a little bit, played baseball there. And I got a job here. Worked at Dick's Sporting Goods before this, so this is my second job. Started working with this department for coming up on 5 years now.
Probably your last.
So baseball seemed pretty important to you back
Yeah,
in high
baseball's
school.
fun,
What position?
yeah. Pitcher.
Cool. How's your arm holding up?
I mean, soreness every once in a while, but I haven't thrown for a while. So
Yeah, no, it still kills me. I played softball,
okay, nice.
so I
Right
was third, short, center, and pitcher.
here in San Diego.
Yeah, down Hilltop, Indian Valley kind of area. But I know, like, back when, I don't know if it's the same for you, they had no idea, like, about icing and massaging. And
Yeah, I knew about icing stuff. Yeah.
I did not, so I am paying the price
Girls
for
throw in
it.
her hand, so
Yes, and it's brutal, though. Let me tell you, I'm paying for it still. But, so did you ever play any other sports in high school?
in high school, no, just football and baseball.
Football, baseball?
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else in school that you enjoyed doing?
Hanging out with friends, just typical high school stuff. I mean, it's pretty sheltered from my mom, so I
Okay.
didn't get out much, but yeah, just the sports and stuff.
Okay, how come you say you're
Keeping me squared away, keeping me in line.
very cool? And have you always worked corrections?
Yeah, I attempted to go out to patrol, went to the academy. Things didn't work out there, so I came back here.
Did you have fun at the academy while you were
Oh
there?
yeah, I enjoy it. It's good. I mean, camaraderie and stuff like that. So,
Okay. Married? Have any kids?
oh yeah, married. Recently got married this last year in September.
Okay.
We have a kid due on the way in August.
Oh.
Jesus.
Okay. Boy, girl.
Boy,
Very nice.
fortunately.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Were you like hoping for?
Oh
a
no,
girl?
I said looking forward to
Oh,
it.
looking
Yeah.
forward. I thought you
Yeah.
said unfortunately. I'm
No,
like,
no,
oh,
no. No, I'm
Okay,
excited.
good.
Yeah.
See, I think that's like that shows how he's barely listening. Like his mind is just running at the moment because he did it. He said, "I'm looking forward to it." She misheard it as unfortunately, and she's like unfortunately, and he's like, yeah, like he didn't even. He's not even hearing what she's saying. He's just like,
Right. I know. And certainly he's going to be wondering, like, why are you asking me about high school? Why are you asking me about the sports I played and all of that? Why are you trying to get to know me, as a
exactly,
high school student or, what did I do back then? Why does that
exactly,
matter now? And he's
yeah.
not asking either.
No, no, that's the like that's the thing, and I think that's what's so good about this technique. It's just putting him at so uneasy, but he doesn't feel like he can ask anything here. And
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, innocent, guilty people they all act differently, but you'd have to imagine if this all is a misunderstanding, he hasn't done anything wrong. Like he would be like, look, what is going on here? Tell me what you want to know, or I'm going out. I've got stuff. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
he's just like, let's just keep it all friendly, almost like delaying the inevitable. Like it's kind of like you see in a lot of once this is official, basically my life's over. Like once I hear what the charges are and what you've got, so let's stay in this kind of moment right now.
Mhm.
Okay, that's cool. And your wife? How long have you known her?
Actually preschool. Yeah, we met in preschool, went separate ways. Met her back in high school. Things like I was trying to date her, but she was playing it hard to get again.
Yeah.
Then college came around, tried again, and actually ran into her in PV about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And then, yeah, we reconnected then and got married,
Sparked.
had a family, bought a house.
It's nice. You don't hear stories that go that far back. So you guys got married just last year, already expecting baby number 1.
Yeah.
Are you still living in Santee?
Yeah.
Okay. Where are you living at?
Right across from West Hills, new community, Western community.
Okay. So you're gonna have your kid go to West Hills?
Probably, yeah, over Santana.
Are they
yeah.
viral? Are they
Rivals?
rivals?
Yeah.
Okay. It's
West
gonna be
Hills is
hard.
new now, so.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard combating everybody else and doing that.
I don't reckon you
So
have
do
to
you
worry
do
about
anything
that,
else
Jaylen.
as far as for fun? Do you do sports still?
But like, even that kind of thing there, like she's keeping him, like, we're talking about what your kids are gonna do and that kind of stuff, like, almost downplaying the seriousness, because logically you'd think if you're talking about where my kids are going to go to school, I'm not in that much trouble here. Like, this isn't obviously something I'm going to go to jail for, because that's not going to matter. Like this is great. I think this is excellent interrogation so far.
Yeah, and he crossed his arms right away too.
That is a good pickup. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's turning in his chair, like kind of twisting. I mean, you could call that kind of like fidgeting.
Yep.
Like somebody may be shaking their leg or something, but he's kind of just turning in his chair, maybe trying to act like he's nonchalant about things, but he's definitely trying to close off. That's a very closed off position versus having his arms on the table, like his hands, clasped or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just kind of sitting there, turning in his chair with his arms crossed. It's interesting.
It is. That's a really good point, because when he came in there, he kind of, he kind of had his like, a kind of fist into his thigh kind of thing, like that kind of more open stance. And now the more personal we get, he's leaning back further, his arms are crossed.
Yeah.
It's going to get worse, Jaylen.
I'll do softball with the guys here at work and stuff like that. Other than that, mountain bike once in a while.
Cool. How about video games, computers, anything like that? Do you ever?
Yeah, I'll play video games every once in a while and stuff like that, but not too often. My wife's not big on the video games.
Cool. And I hear your schedule recently changed. How do you feel about the schedule
it's long.
change?
Yeah. 12 and a half in a row. Kills you. 7 off is nice, but it flies by, so.
Yeah, and then those 7 drag
Yeah.
once you're here. So at least you're on your last day today, right? We communicated with some of the people who are going like, hey, when does he work? And thank you for meeting with us here.
Yeah.
We obviously, given COVID, there's not a lot of places you can meet up with people right now. That's one, comfortable, gives us enough space, and makes you feel like that you're not at your home or randomly out in the middle of nowhere. So I know RPD is like refusing to let anybody in the doors, so I can understand. How about social media? Are you active on social media at all?
Facebook and Instagram. Had Snapchat back in the day, got rid of that with my wife. We got caught in the academy with her and some stuff, but.
Can you tell me about that, or?
It was with another recruit in the academy, but.
Okay. So you're communicating with another recruit?
I was back in. I stopped. Everything got cut off. Got rid of. I didn't delete the Snapchat. I just deleted the app. So I haven't used it for like, I don't know, a year and a half now.
Okay. So on Facebook, just because I
interesting
like to
that he mentions that.
Isn't it? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, he kind of says that, then looks directly at her as almost to see, is there a reaction there? Like, because obviously he knows he's been doing this communication on Snapchat. So, I haven't used it in a few years. But then he looks at her to go, does her face change to suggest that she knows about, my recent Snapchat activity?
Right. And what would be the purpose of stating what social media you don't use anymore?
Exactly. Well,
if you really didn't use it.
That's right, because she didn't ask what social media did you used to use. She was like, what do you use? And he's like, Facebook, Instagram. No Snapchat though. No. Had
right.
That, got caught. All good now. Nothing to see there.
Right. Exactly. He's not saying, well, I had a MySpace back in the day.
Yeah.
I had Yahoo or whatever, stuff that he doesn't use. There would be no purpose in outlining what that is. But he knows that they're talking about Snapchat.
Yep.
He knows that that's where his activity was. He also knows that the account wasn't deleted. It wasn't even disabled. He just deleted the app from his phone,
Mm.
which means nothing because you can add that back at any time, use
Yes.
it, delete it again.
Yep. Exactly
You
right.
know, he's not going to want to get notifications.
He definitely is not going to want notifications.
Right. And also because he got in trouble by his wife
Yep.
while he was in the academy last year, or a year and a half ago, or something of that nature. I can't remember what he said exactly, but recently, not too long ago, he got in trouble for talking to or whatever he was doing on Snapchat with someone else that he was in the academy with.
Yep. Um.
So, so I mean, so certainly he's going to want to distance himself from that. I think that's what he's doing
Yep.
because if they have information, which they do, the information of messages that someone has been using your Snapchat account, and you are establishing right now that you haven't used it in like a year and a half or so, then what's going on,
That's
right?
it. That's right. Let's keep the suspect pool open. So yep, had Snapchat, got caught doing some stuff I shouldn't do, so I deleted it, but the account's still there. So then when it inevitably gets to, we've got this evidence of your account doing this, he hasn't ruled out the possibility that the account's still there. Maybe someone has been accessing it to try to frame me, or
Yeah.
so just keeping the net pretty wide at this stage.
Exactly.
Social media when I can. What's your Facebook login? Like your username?
I think just under Jaylen Fleer.
It's your name?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then you said Instagram? Is that
Instagram,
right?
yeah.
Okay. What's your Instagram username?
I think.
Okay. And then you said you got rid of Snapchat, but when you did have it, what was it?
Just Jaylen Fleer.
Jaylen Fleer? Okay. So the one that you had there, and has that account since been deleted or just
That one.
deactivated?
That's just delete the app. I think it's still there.
Okay. And I know when it comes to
So he must have another Snapchat account, right? Like, surely he is not doing what he's doing on Snapchat with these kids with his name as his username. He's not that
Correct.
dumb, right?
Yeah. Correct. There is another account that
Yep.
they're going to talk about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Facebook, you connect it to an email address. Do you know what email address is connected to it?
I hate that noise.
Isn't it awful?
Yeah.
There's one
And
coming
then
up a
your
bit later,
Instagram account, what
and
same email?
it goes for about 30 seconds. So I might try to skip that a bit, or at least turn it down to save
Yeah.
everyone's ears.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. And I know sometimes with Snapchat, they'll have you either sign up with a phone number or an email.
I believe it's my phone number.
Yeah, okay.
So, I don't know, do you have any questions for me before we kind of...
I will ask what this is about.
Yeah, so we're looking into some allegations that were made. We're kind of, it started with a Crime-Stopper report, so we're just kind of
Okay.
going from there. We did receive a picture that, when we looked into it, it looks similar to you. So I don't know if
Yeah.
you can take a look at the picture and just tell me if you've seen this picture before. Oh, I have like 15 million things here. Okay.
And that would be something
So this
worrisome
picture
as
right
well. I have 15 million things here.
Exactly. Like, there's so many little things which, I mean, I believe she's doing intentionally, but either way,
Of
like,
course.
it's
Yeah.
so good. Even that, like trying to lift it, like that's showing how heavy this is. Like,
Yeah.
got a lot of evidence, Jaylen. I had to help
This is a
someone.
massive file.
I had to get someone to help me carry this in. Like,
Mhm.
it's great. It's such good work.
No.
Yeah, that's definitely me with the gross one.
Okay, so this picture right here, how old were you when it was taken?
I don't know, 20?
20? Have you ever used this picture on any social media site?
I think it was Snapchat back in the day, yeah.
Okay. All right. Have you ever shared this picture with anybody on Snapchat?
Yeah, probably with my wife, to be honest. I mean, obviously I talked to other girls back in the day too, but I can't remember right off
Okay.
the head.
If you had to guesstimate how many times you may have shared the photo, how many times?
That one, maybe just a couple times, once or twice.
Okay. So definitely to your wife.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've used that photo for your wife, and you were about 20 years old in the photo. You did share it on Snapchat, and then maybe some other girls you were talking to?
I mean, yeah, this was a long time ago, so I don't really remember who it was.
Okay. Have you ever posted it as like your profile photo, or
No, that one.
ever posted on Instagram? Oh, I forgot to ask you, are your accounts, is your Instagram and your Facebook, are they private?
They are, yeah.
Okay. And I know Snapchat is all private, right? I mean, you have to add somebody.
Yeah, I believe I had to, yeah.
You can't
Yeah,
just
request a friend.
Yeah, you can't just be anyone. So that one's at least a little bit better, where it's like you have to actively search for somebody, right? Okay, so you in
And
the
that's
photo,
another thing too,
and is
where he would have been searching for these girls.
Yep.
So that's just another added detail that kind of slides in there. Like, oh yeah, you have to add somebody in order to start messaging them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And
Mm-hmm.
I did find it interesting. I mean, obviously he probably realizes, they know all this info that they're asking. But like, I found it interesting that he didn't kind of say, oh, I might have used that as my profile pic. Like, try to, because this is obviously a picture he sent to these kids. So
Mm-hmm.
trying to kind of put out there that someone other than me may have this photo and be pretending to be me or that kind of thing. But he's just kind of like, no, I don't think I did. But every time she stops talking, his eyes go straight back down to that picture. Like he is just to her the picture, like trying to figure out, what they know based on this. Like, who did I send this to and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he probably sent it to all the girls, most likely, with him being 20 in that picture. He's 27 there in the interview. So certainly he's going to want to send something a little younger.
Well, that's right, especially because he was telling these girls that he was 22. Like, he's another one of these pedophiles that are like, 22 sounds better than 27 or better than 30 or whatever it is. Like,
Sure.
not that it makes any difference whatsoever, but for some reason in their mind, they seem to think that it's not as bad if we're closer in age, even though, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
is that a gross font? Is that gross font?
Yeah, it's
emblem?
gross font.
Okay, cool.
Well, I get, in saying that, like, I guess it's just that they obviously think that that's going to, work on a kid more. Like, 20, if you're 20 or 22, maybe they don't feel as freaked out as if you're 27 or if you're 30 or if you're 60, like.
Oh, definitely.
it's
Yeah. I think as the number gets higher, I think there's certainly going to be more of a risk of somebody. But if he's sending a picture of him being college age, then he's still a student,
Yeah.
And of course he's going very low in the age range.
Yes.
But, if he's talking to girls who are early in high school, like somebody who's in college, would be kind of cool maybe.
Yep.
That makes it very easy. So as far as like the picture, so this photo came up in connection with some allegations about you communicating with a younger female on Snapchat.
Okay.
Have you ever communicated with any females that we've already recognized that yes you have with your recruit from the past? Is there anyone else you've communicated with on Snapchat?
I mean, back then, no, just close friends and coworkers and stuff like that.
Anyone recently?
No.
Is there any reason why your phone number and email might be linked to a different Snapchat account?
Another one? No. I never had another one. Just the Jaylen clear one.
Okay, so that phone number and email wouldn't be attached to
No.
any other account? Okay. All right. And your schedule. I know that you work every 7 days on and 7 days off. What is your wife's schedule like?
She's every Friday, Saturday off, day shift, so typical 9 to 5.
Okay, so she works 9 to 5 and you work like the complete opposite schedule.
What
Depends,
way to
every
make
3
a
months we
living.
rotate days and nights.
Couldn't help
Okay,
myself.
and how long have you been on nights now?
Nights now, probably a little over a month now, month and a half.
All right.
Can I ask, is this something I should have lawyers on?
So right now, and I'll go over the behavior with you. You know, we're investigating
Yes,
allegations that were made that you were communicating with a younger female on Snapchat, and potentially some material might have been shared.
Okay.
Some photos.
And like, what does he think she's going to say? Absolutely. Like, you should have had lawyers on this ages ago. Like, he knows that she can't. Like, she's obviously not going to say that, but she also can't say no. Like, I guess it's just trying to get a gauge on how fucked he is.
Exactly. Yeah. He's probably wondering, am I going to get arrested?
That's it.
You know, because that Miranda warning wasn't read because he hasn't been arrested. He's not detained. So he's just having an interview to talk about, you know, these allegations that are against him. So, you know, does he need to worry about this? Is he just having an interview, or is there something more to it that he needs to be worried about? Yeah.
Some images, stuff like that. So we, of course, want to be able to hear what happened from your side, if that in fact did occur, or if it didn't occur, we want to always
Everyone that I talked to, was about my age, I remember.
Okay. So who have you talked to?
My wife. This was back then when I had Tinder, so I did meet people on Tinder and stuff. Everyone should have been older than that to know of, because Tinder's 18 and up.
Oh, come on.
Did you ever
Adult chat room.
meet up with anyone that you
Right.
met on Tinder?
On Tinder, my ex-girlfriend, yeah, and we dated for like 3 years.
Okay, what's your ex-girlfriend's name?
Jesus, how long's her name? Okay, we're still going. This was the
Met
long
her
one.
on Tinder in college when I was playing baseball, and we dated for about 3 years.
Well, you clearly don't know the concept of Tinder.
I was on Tinder long, yeah.
Okay,
met her.
so
Yeah.
how old were you then when you dated her?
Shoot, maybe like 20, about 20 or yeah,
And how old was she?
same age. She
Same
was
age?
my age, yeah.
Okay. So yes, on Tinder, when you were on Tinder, and forgive me, I'm not very well versed on Tinder, do you have a username there as well?
Shoot, I can't remember. It might have just been Jaylen or Jaylen or something like that.
So Jay.
Yeah, probably Jaylen, to be honest. Jaylen.
Do you ever go by Jay?
Friends call me Jay once in a while.
All right. Okay, so Tinder, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, any other social media sites that you've delved into or used?
No, other social.
Okay. All right. Of course, we've spoken to, obviously the other parties involved and kind of gotten some of the information. And so the reason why this particular photo was kind of brought up is because this photo was sent to this female, which is why I wonder if this photo would be in anyone else's hands.
For someone being younger, no, it wasn't anyone I sent younger.
So this photo was sent within the last 3 weeks. Have you sent this
No,
photo?
definitely not. It wasn't me.
Not to anyone within the last 3 weeks? Okay. And you've only shared it with a select few people?
Yeah, that was a long time ago, so.
Okay. So I want to make sure to get all the people you have shared it with, just to make sure they wouldn't try to send it.
Yeah, no, I know there's like screenshots and stuff. I don't remember that one being screenshotted on Snapchat. Oh.
Yeah, because Snapchat lets you know when you're
Yeah,
screenshotting.
it'll tell you. So, that was a long time ago, so I don't know.
Okay.
Which is so strange to me.
Yeah.
I don't know about Snapchat. I've never used it. But it's so weird that it's going to tell you if something is screenshot.
Yes.
So for him to do what he was doing as far as reaching out to these girls, sending that photo, obviously he did that. I know that he sent other pictures that are not with clothes. But he also sent pictures of himself in his uniform and stuff. So as soon as it's sent, though, if somebody takes a screenshot, it's too late, isn't it?
It sure is.
Yeah. So, okay, so it's going to tell you that it was done.
Yep.
But then what are you going to do there? What are you going to do then?
Please delete that. That's right.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can't.
And then there's another screenshot of him asking it to be deleted. Yeah, it's so brazen to me. I mean, obviously he's going to find, some type of comfort with things disappearing and
That's it.
not being held, right?
Yep.
So it's very much delete your archives,
Yes.
type of insurance.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, the fact that it will tell you that it is at that point, it's too late. So I'm really curious, what was okay with that. I guess because it didn't happen, one time or something, like, so when he's reaching out to these people, it hadn't been happening. So maybe he figured it's not going to, or I'm also wondering if he would have mentioned that.
Yes. And see, I've also never had Snapchat, but like, you hear that about the screenshot, but that's what I've always wondered too. I mean, it's too late. I mean, and on top of that, you also don't know if someone, you could take a photo of your phone, like, but yeah, like once I guess the only thing it does, and in his case with what he's doing, it's not going to be much consolation. All it does is show that you obviously can't trust this person anymore to share anything else with them because they're going to screenshot it. But by that point with him, it's too late.
Right.
And so, like, with him, like, kind of throwing that out there, like, oh, well, I don't think so. Like, I know you can screenshot it, but it'll tell you, like, is he trying to go for the, maybe one of these people, one of these adults that I've been doing this with has been screenshotting my photos to then share and try to frame me or something, like.
Right, exactly, because he keeps stating back in the day, like back then,
That's it.
when he was, and he's only saying that he shared that particular photo with his current wife and an ex-girlfriend.
That's right. And so, they would have this photo, so this obviously isn't me, but maybe someone else is.
Yeah.
You don't know who I might be able to connect with this photo as far as
On that one? No, that was a long time ago.
You said you've only shared it a couple times?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a basic photo. I mean, I don't want to save that one or anything like that.
So it was either your wife or whoever the other person you might have shared it with that might have shared the photo again? My question is...
I doubt my wife would have did that.
Yeah.
You doubt it.
We've been together for so long.
Well,
And this is what I mean, like, even with his wife, he doesn't want to take anyone out of the suspect pool here. Like, he knows that he can't say, oh, look, maybe my wife. Yeah, it's probably her. But he also doesn't want to straight out say, of course my wife hasn't. Like, it's like, I don't think my wife would. But,
Right, but it's possible,
Yeah,
because it wasn't me.
That's the only thing I know for sure, is that it wasn't me. So... Let's have a look at some of these other potential people.
so you dated this girl for 3 years, and when you were 20, that's 23, you kindled your relationship with your wife about 3 years ago?
Like, literally, it was about a month apart from my ex.
The other one. So you've been with her for 3 years,
Yeah.
So you like the long-term relationships?
I've always been in long term.
3 to 3. All right. So, this, like I said, this photo was sent to this person, so they were in possession of it, and we can't find any connection or reason why this photo would end up with this particular person if it wasn't shared by someone you may know or yourself.
I agree, yeah. My wife wouldn't have done that, so I don't know why she would share that. So,
Mystery.
It's a long time ago. My ex, it was a bad breakup with my ex, but she wouldn't have saved something like that either. So, I mean, I don't know who would have.
Silence.
Yeah. you gotta love that silence, don't you?
It's good. Yeah. see what else he's going to say. Obviously, that's very uncomfortable because she's looking at him.
That,
I
that, that
imagine.
that's right. And because I do find it interesting because a lot of the time when he's talking, he's looking down at the table.
Hmm.
But after certain things, he will look straight at her. And in my assumption, it is to try to, like, he'll say something and he wants to see how that registers. Does she give anything away?
Sure.
Is she believe? Like, kind of there where he was like, well, it was a bad breakup, but she wouldn't do anything like that. Then look straight at her to see if she's maybe going to go, well, if it was a bad breakup, people do, to see, because he doesn't want to be the one to say it. He doesn't want to say, oh, look, she was a massive bitch and it was a bad breakup. She probably did this. But he
Right.
wants to see, is there any kind of leeway there? Is she going to be like, well, we looked at all angles and that kind of thing. And one channel that I think we mentioned before that I really enjoy is the behaviour panel, and that's what they kind of talk about with like the site, like leaving, like, as interrogators, the worst mistake junior interrogators make is they just talk so much. They don't leave that silence there to have the person sit in it, which yeah, it's it would be like, this silence is probably 10 seconds. It probably feels like an hour to him. Like,
It has to, yeah, because he's thinking, well, she's not saying anything.
no.
So I need to say something, right? Like, what am I going to say? And he doesn't even know what to say.
No.
Now there's information that he's just been presented, that there's a photo of him that was sent to a younger girl recently, when he is insisting that he hasn't been on Snapchat for a long time.
Mm.
And he would have only shared that photo with 2 women.
Yep.
That's it. So how would that photo arrive in the inbox of a younger girl now?
Yep.
How did it happen? And certainly in having an interview like this, I mean, it's natural that somebody is going to break eye contact.
Yep.
In normal conversation, you don't just stare at somebody. That's gonna tell you more about that person, like what is going on with them. Like,
Yep.
they're really trying to maintain that eye contact. They won't break it for a single second. So it's normal that that eye contact would be broken. And sometimes I think people think that happens if you're lying. Like, oh, you can't even look me in the eye, right? But that's not exactly how it works. But he's really avoiding eye contact. I mean, I just imagine that if you walked into a room like this, you're sitting across from 2 detectives. They're telling you something that you're not aware of. You have no idea that any of this has happened. There's allegations against you. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, it seems to me that there would be more of a response than simply sitting there and just, answering questions that are presented. I feel like I would, certainly not having been in that position before, but I feel like I would be asking a lot, like, what is going on here? Like, stop asking me about high school. Like, why am I here?
That is
What exactly is happening?
that is exactly right. And I think, guilty people, they think, like, subconsciously think, if I'm kind of getting agitated and that's going to make me look more guilty. Whereas, I mean, everyone acts different, but 9 times out of 10, I would imagine if an innocent person sitting there, they're saying exactly what you're saying. It's like, why are we talking about my high school? Like, I don't really care about your softball injury. I'm sorry. What is going on here? Like, but he's
Yeah,
just so calm.
exactly.
He's not calm, but he's not asking any
He's giving the
questions.
appearance. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's giving the appearance that he's calm. Like, what? There's nothing to see here. There's nothing wrong.
exactly. Yep. And
Yeah.
that is so abnormal, because an innocent person wouldn't be acting like that. Like, it's similar, like, in, cases of, say, missing people and that, and, like, a lot of the time, say if a woman goes missing, her husband is like the first suspect, and he's the suspect until they can rule him out, and that kind of thing. Whereas, you'll see when it is actually the husband that's done it, he'll be very much like this. Whereas, someone that hasn't be like, what are we doing? Why aren't you out looking for my wife? Like, what is going, like, this is bullshit. I'm not like, but someone who's guilty is kind of like, well, I don't want to raise suspicion, so I'll sit here for hours, not
Hmm.
realizing that that's weird that you're happy to sit there for hours when your wife is missing.
Right, exactly. It reminds me of an interrogation. I'll try to find it. We'll see if
Mm-hmm.
we can do that one. Um, but it's one where the husband murdered the wife.
Mm-hmm.
And he is so overacting that you're like, "What is this man doing?" He's like, "Why?" He's like screaming, and you're like, "No, sir. Like this doesn't really make a lot of sense."
Yeah.
It was swung way over in the other direction to where it's like you know that people are watching you,
Yes.
and so now you're acting out. But yeah, it is interesting how the demeanor of somebody during media interviews, interrogations and police interviews, and all of that really it comes into play. And that's where the behavioral panel is really great at looking at that, because as they're talking about some of these things now, obviously it's not an exact science.
Mm-hmm.
It goes along the lines of a polygraph. It's going to give some indicators of like, we need to look into this, we need to look into that. Something is not right here. They're acting differently from their normal baseline behaviors.
Yes.
So I think that a lot of it is like that too. It's an investigative tool that can be used to see, okay, what direction do we need to go in? Is there anything that based on their responses, and in particular their body language, what they're not saying can certainly say a lot.
Definitely. And like, looking at him here, he's got a lot of like the Chris Watts about him. Like, arms crossed, he's standing back in that, but it's all there's no questions of the person interrogating him. It's just going along with it, short answers, that kind of stuff. Like it's very very similar.
'Cause I mean, I met girls on Tinder and stuff back in the day, and yeah, some save stuff. But I don't know who would save a picture like that. I mean, a nude maybe, yeah, they would save. Not that one.
And there's nothing wrong with this photo, right? It's just
No,
you.
I agree. I don't know how it would get in the hands of a younger person.
Okay. There were also some conversations that were exchanged between you and this person.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't talk to anybody younger though.
Not on Snapchat?
No,
Not recently?
not recently. No.
Now, you said all of your social media accounts are private, right?
Yeah.
And I know you're a law enforcement officer, so I know that you've also taken the time to make your plates confidential.
I mean, back in the day, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think my current ones are though.
I mean, obviously, I ran your plates. So you're still driving the Ford Fusion,
Yeah,
and is it black or gray?
it's great.
Okay. And you got tinted windows on it still?
Yeah.
And so, when it comes to the photo, I really want to understand why this person would be in possession with the photo. But the only one who could really help me with that is you.
Yeah. No, I couldn't tell you that. I don't know.
Okay. Well, along with the photo came some additional information about your personal life.
Okay.
And based on some of the information you shared with me today, it seems to add up.
Okay.
So is there any reason why
Uh-oh.
the person would...
It's almost as if she wasn't asking just to ask.
It is a bit like that, isn't it?
It certainly feels that way.
Nah.
Walked right into it, didn't you?
Even right
Oh,
with
man.
the about you made your plates confidential. He's like, oh well, I don't think these ones. This is like, obviously I've looked into this, you idiot.
Right, right. And I'm wondering if that has to do with any surveillance photos, any
Yep.
yeah, any cameras that may have been outside of buildings or whatever, because I believe that for the victim, or one of the victims that he met, it was in a parking lot, I think.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. So I think it must be around that, but he's not realizing that all of these questions he's asking, they're not, she's got the information. Like these aren't genuine questions, to you to fill in the gaps. It's to see your reaction, and yeah, you're just walking right into everyone. At this point, he's probably hoping we can get back to talking about baseball in high school. Like, where'd you say you went to high school again, Miss Investigator?
Say they're you and share your information.
Sounds like it'd be someone that knows me then, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know who. I don't have any enemies that would be doing something like that.
Like, you're a police officer. Like, you most likely have some enemies. Like, why are you?
Right.
This is where his mind is obviously not working, because he's gone away from trying to increase the suspect pool now, which would be in his best interest. Like, you would think, if anything, he'd be saying, well, got a lot of people that would like to see me go down for something like this.
Mm-hmm. But he can't explain the picture, though.
That's the picture's a real sticking point.
It sure is.
Can I ask what information was shared? What they know?
We know that you're a baseball player.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that information was kind of shared.
Okay.
Your work schedule.
It's been 5 years now I've worked here.
Specifically the transition to 7 days on, 7 days off.
Really?
Damn it.
Really? They knew that too? Wow.
I shared anything like that recently. I couldn't tell you who that would be.
So let's take it back a little bit. You said you played football
I did,
in high
yeah.
school, right? What position did you play?
I was a defensive end.
Defensive end. Did you have the same jersey the whole time you played?
My last 2 years were, 82, and then first 2 years changed
I
up.
wonder why she's asking about this.
And what year did you graduate?
2011.
Okay. So, I know as an athlete, sometimes when I would do my usernames and stuff, I would kind of use a combination of my things that I know about myself, right? So that way I wouldn't forget it. So this particular picture came from an account with this username, right?
There we go.
J178211. Okay. And I recognize that your jersey name in college was 17.
Yes, it
And
was.
then high school
82
was
is
82. And it was 11.
Wow.
2011.
I never had 11.
No, as far as you graduated in 2011.
I did, yeah.
And it goes by Jay. And it is a Snapchat account that has some links to you.
Okay.
Okay. Jay, I'll be
Well, that is a crazy coincidence.
I don't know why that would be. It's definitely an interesting response to that. Just say, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like if we're going along the lines of, someone's impersonating you or something, like why is there not a bit of outrage? Like, they've obviously gotten my numbers to, like, it's just like, okay, like what? And
Right.
I like there too that he's like, well, I never had jersey 11, like as if he had found the loophole, and they were going to be like, oh shit, okay, like she's just like,
Maybe it's
well,
the real person's jersey number.
exactly. I did play with a guy that wore 11, and yeah, he didn't like me. I think we've cracked the case, guys. Can I go? Can I go now?
I know.
very honest. I want to know the truth.
Yeah, no, I never even heard of that account.
Okay. Have you ever shared any images of your penis with anyone?
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
how many times would you say you've done that?
A lot.
Can you kind of explain that a little bit more to me?
I mean, my wife, my ex-girlfriend, back in the day, Tinder and stuff, yeah.
Back in the day.
I mean, I'm sure you know how Tinder is.
Yeah.
High school, even, junior high, I did.
Did you ever share any videos of you having sex with anyone?
With anyone? No. I've always had personal videos of me and my wife. That was it. And my ex actually had one, but
What does your ex look like?
She's blonde.
She's blonde. Okay. So you've never shared any videos?
No, I have not, no.
Just still shots?
Yeah.
Can you, I know this is kind of personal, so let me know if you get uncomfortable at all. Can you tell me what some of those images look like?
Video I had, I used
Cross
toys.
those arms.
Yep.
It's awkward, but yeah, I used toys on my wife.
Yeah, that would be a really embarrassing question.
It really would. Like he had, you can see he's embarrassed because he's got that little side smirk, and he's not smirking because
Yeah.
he's happy. Like he's like, it's this would be hard to talk about.
Yeah.
And
Sure. Yeah.
so clearly he has either been sending stills or the videos that he's made of him and his wife to these kids because they wouldn't be asking about it otherwise. Like, Jesus, like that. It's just wow, terrible.
Okay. Can you explain the clip?
Yeah. Or they could have been just pictures of him too, or videos that he made of himself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it definitely could have been the other ones as well.
Yep. See, I am inferring that it is of like his wife or him with another woman at least because
Yeah.
she's asking, what does your ex look like? Like clearly they've got
Mhm.
an image of another woman there that they're trying to pinpoint.
Identify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
She's
awkward.
your wife, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's your wife, it's intimate, we
Sounds
totally get
comfortable,
this,
yeah.
yeah.
Dildos. A vibrator. That's really it. That's all I had.
Okay. You and your wife haven't been in that house too long, right? When did you guys move in?
About a year and a half ago.
And you guys, how many bedrooms are in the house?
4.
4. Do you guys live with anyone else?
No,
Okay. Do you guys have a master bedroom?
we do, yeah.
All right. Can you tell me about your master bedroom?
It's, I mean, just a big white room, big king bed. I mean, there's nothing really special to it.
Okay. Just because it gives me kind of some insight of like,
Yeah.
what your home life is like. Do you guys still sleep in the same room? That's a good marriage.
Yeah.
I say that because people who've been married a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we come into contact with a lot of them. Do you guys have a TV in your room?
We do, yeah.
Okay. What kind of a TV?
Just a black Samsung TV.
Okay. Is it like a large room that has like one of those double door entries? Because I know some of those houses have them.
No, it's just a single door.
It's a single door.
Yeah.
Okay. Any dressers or?
Yeah, we have one dresser.
Can you
Actually,
just,
we have two nightstands and a dresser.
can you describe the dresser to me?
Yeah, it's like a tannish brown, I guess.
Okay. Is it newer?
Somewhat, yeah. Yeah, probably.
Because you never know. Like sometimes when people move in, they have like that chic style look or like
Mm-hmm.
the modern look. So it just helps me to get an idea of what home life is like. It must be hard for you guys though, because your schedules are complete opposite.
Yeah, I mean, we still see each other at the end of the day. Here, so.
She's just confirming what she sees
So,
in photos.
Exactly. Like, like I love how she's like, I'm just trying to get an idea of your home life and that. No, trying to get you to confirm that this is your bedroom, that you obviously taken
Yes.
these pictures, you filthy animal.
Uh-huh.
Like, but I don't know if this isn't I don't know if he's just continuing to go along because he doesn't want to get agitated, or if it's not registering with him the reason she's asking these questions, because he's just kind of like, yeah, well, it's that, yep.
Yeah, I think he's just, still in his mode of being agreeable, just going along. He's going to answer the questions. He's not causing any problems.
Yep.
He wants to give them whatever they're asking for so that they can find the real person that did this,
Yes. Yep.
Because
Because that's what they're here for, is to find the real
Yeah.
perpetrator. Because it's not
Mhm.
Jaylen.
No.
Going back, and I'll give you a little bit more information, then I'll let you chat for a little bit. I don't like chatting a lot, so I already feel like I chat too much. So, when it comes to the Crime Stopper that we're investigating and the Snapchat account, and of course your phone number and everything in connection with it, and some of the combinations of numbers and everything there, you can understand why obviously
Yeah, no, it's.
we have a growing
I understand.
concern.
It's weird.
And of course your pictures attached to it,
Yeah.
right? Which is even more like either someone's.
Can I ask what you said? You got nude ones too.
There were images that were shared, yes. That
Can I ask? I'm sure you got them here. Can I ask to see what they are?
you want to see the picture?
Yeah, so I can get an idea.
Do you ever even not do? Yeah. So I don't actually have a clear shot of one. Yeah. So I can't. I did not
Okay, I understand.
print
Can I-
out those
Can I wait till I have a
pictures.
lawyer? Because this is kind of. I'm uncomfortable with this. This is weird. So. I'll
Of
have a
course,
lawyer.
like you definitely have the ability to do that, and of course, you
Yep.
know this is completely voluntary.
I understand.
And so
I just don't want to get caught up on something. I'm working this career. I don't want to get caught up on something.
I fully understand. Yeah. So you can, yes, 100% elect not to speak with us. You are not under arrest at this time.
Yeah, I understand.
Obviously, given the fact that we're here and the fact that we're speaking to you, I know that your bosses are going to want to speak with
question.
you
Yeah,
afterwards. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and allow them to speak with you after.
And I do love that too. So he's, said he wants to get a lawyer, and she's, just going through but saying, yep, of course you can have a lawyer. You're not detained. Of course, because we're here, your bosses are going to want to talk to you after this. So just planning in there. Do you want your bosses to know that you've engaged a lawyer? Like, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I was watching a defense attorney. Have you ever heard of Bruce Rivers?
I have, yes, indeed.
Okay. So I watched his video on this, and it was very good. So especially at the start, where she said, this is a voluntary interview. He stops. He's like, all right, well, get up, get the fuck out of there. Like, there's your side, man.
Exactly right.
Yeah, exactly. And then because he hasn't had the Miranda warning read to him, they don't have to stop.
Oh,
asking.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't quite make the connection, but no, you're right there. Yep. Because if they'd done the Miranda warning, he said, "I want to speak," it'd have to be over then, wouldn't it? That'd be like, okay, you want to speak with a lawyer?
Yes. And it's not even just about asking questions. It's like, we will not talk to you.
That's
We're
right.
not going to speak to you.
Because that'd be breaking the Miranda, then, wouldn't they? If they continued on any further communication once he'd said, "I want a lawyer."
Sure. I mean, if they keep talking, like, they keep talking, but they're not going to be able to ask them anything else. They're not going to speak to them about the charges, whatever case is against them at that point. Yeah.
Yep. But no, Bruce Rivers is very good. I'll have to watch. I haven't watched his one on this yet, but I'll have to watch that, because you'll hear him say that a lot. Like get up, leave, get out of there.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, once they give you that, you have the right to an attorney. All right, well, there you go. I'm not talking anymore. He has his merch, of course, that says "Stop Self-Snitching."
Yes.
And that is exactly what's happening here. I mean, that's the thing, I can understand the mentality of wanting to cooperate and wanting to make sure that you're not giving yourself away by asking for an attorney, because it does feel like, well, if I'm asking for an attorney, that means I feel like I need one because I'm guilty.
Yep.
Instead of saying, I feel like I need one because I'm having law enforcement come at me, asking questions that they already know the answers to.
That's exactly right. It's the same. It's the same reasoning with, if they ask you to take a polygraph, it's not in your best interest to take a polygraph, because even if you pass it, it's not going to change anything. It's just giving them ammunition. But people don't think like that. People think if they say take a polygraph, if I'm not like, absolutely, I've got nothing to hide, it's going to make you look more guilty. But it's not going to change anything.
Right. So it's especially true if you are innocent.
Exactly
that
right.
you need an attorney, and you should not be talking, for that simple fact that you're going to say something inadvertently
Yep.
that's going to screw you over.
Exactly. You know,
Yeah.
and that's why the polygraphs aren't admissible, because obviously it goes off baseline and that, but
Mhm.
even if you're innocent, you are getting interrogated. You know, whatever the crime, like you are gonna have emotional responses to it. So it's just not in. But people do it all the time. People always do it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, they'll say, "I want an attorney," and then they keep talking,
Yeah.
and like, well, why are you talking? This is the whole point. The whole point is to stop you from talking. You don't have to answer anything. You don't have to say anything.
No. Case in
You know.
point, Jaylen right here, because he said he wants a lawyer, and we have another, 15 odd minutes of this. So he
I
obviously
know.
keeps talking. Like, come on, Jaylen.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Obviously, since you don't want to talk to us anymore, my partner here may have
Well,
some.
I just wanted to clarify. I have a couple of questions, but
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
don't want to answer, or can I ask you the questions? Because you can choose to answer or not answer. So if I ask you a question and you're like, I don't want to answer that,
Yeah,
you can
no,
tell me
understand.
that. Just so that we understand, just based on the admonishment she read you, okay? One of my questions was, I think I missed it, but when was the last time that you had Snapchat? Because I know you said you deleted it, but I didn't hear when you deleted it.
I just deleted the app. I deleted that when I was in the academy.
What are
In the
you
academy.
doing?
When did you go to the academy?
It's like a little over a year ago.
A year ago,
Yeah.
so in 2019?
Yeah, right at the beginning of 2019, January.
Okay, and then, what years did you go to college at Grossmont?
2011 to about 2013,
Okay.
14.
And then, I just want to make sure that we all understand each other. When my partner says, a younger female, you
Yeah.
understand that we mean someone under the age of 18?
Yeah, that's obviously why you're here.
You understand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Do you have any
understand we're
siblings?
calling you a
I
pedophile,
mean, her
Jaden.
sister, yeah, she's 19 right now. 20, sorry.
Oh, okay. And then, my last question was, when she was asking you about the house and the decorations of your house. In any of your rooms in your house, do you have that new look where they have like the barn door, outer rail type thing? It's like a country, I don't know what you would call it. I see
Barn
it a
door,
lot
yeah.
on like
Yeah.
those DIY shows.
Yes.
Do you have those in
I
your
do have
house? Okay. That was the extent of my questions.
Okay.
So,
I've got a question, Jaylen. Do you remember 5 minutes ago when you said you want a fucking lawyer? Why are you still talking? Fucking idiots.
Because she had a couple of questions that she wanted to ask.
Well, that's fair.
About a very specific aesthetic, like a barn door style wall or a door. It's like the farmhouse is what they call it.
Yeah.
The farmhouse decor. Yeah.
She's just really into home renos. And, she was like, I need that
Do you
in
have
my
that?
house.
How does it look? Do you like that?
But what is it called? I need to call someone up and ask for it. Could you just help me out, Jaylen? And
Yeah.
he's more than happy to.
Of course.
do you have any other questions? I mean, can we still ask you questions, or do you want to stop?
No, I want to wait because I'm uncomfortable
Okay.
with this, so
Okay.
I'm going to talk later.
Okay. So then, I want to thank you for
Yeah,
even
no,
taking
I
the time to speak with me for this long. I can imagine that obviously being confronted with any level of questions can be uncomfortable, so I do appreciate that you've allowed us to speak with you even for this long. Okay, so with the next step, however, I'm going to go ahead and pull some documents here for you. So there are a few steps that we're going to be taking after this. Again, you are not being detained by us or anything, but we are acting on behalf of the court moving forward.
Okay.
Okay. So I will give you a chance to read through this. This is a search warrant that was granted this afternoon by a judge.
Okay.
The warrant does allow us to grab some DNA swabs from you,
Okay.
as well as any mobile devices that might be in your possession or potentially in your locker. Do you have your personal phone with you here?
I do have them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it inside your locker?
It's on my person right now.
Okay. So if you want to go ahead and hand it to us, we definitely don't need to go in and grab it from you.
Okay.
But the search warrant does require that we take it from you.
Okay.
Okay. Additionally, it does allow us to have access to your vehicle.
Okay.
Is your vehicle parked here?
It's parked a few blocks away.
Okay, do you remember exactly where you
It's over across from Cap's Pizza over there.
Cap's Pizza?
Yeah.
And is it like in a parking
It's in a parking lot.
Okay. Is it like one of those paid parking lots?
Yeah.
Okay, so Cap's Pizza. I'll put a note on that. So the warrant does allow for us to also process your vehicle.
You guys are gonna take my vehicle?
No, we're going to process it here.
Okay.
So that we actually have someone here that's going to help us take some pictures and just go ahead and do what needs to be done, so we don't have to.
Okay.
We recognize that warrants are a part of our job, but we don't like to inconvenience people unnecessarily.
Yeah.
So that's why we actually brought our technician with us here, because it is we obviously want to take your DNA with the least effort possible. So that's why we're using the swabs. And the same goes for, of course, your phone, which you stated is on your person. We don't want to put hands on if we don't have to. And
Yeah, no, I understand.
obviously,
I'll give it up.
like you said, as a law enforcement officer, you're willing to comply. With that being said, after that, we will also have access to your locker. Are your vehicle keys inside your locker?
My vehicle keys are in my vehicle right now.
They're in your vehicle?
Yeah.
So you have a code?
I have a code.
Okay. Would you mind sharing that code with us?
Am I allowed a lawyer to say no to that?
Well, the warrant allows for us to have access to your vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
so
otherwise
you
we'll
break
get a
it.
tow
Yeah,
truck.
that's fine. Yeah, I'll give it up to you.
Okay. I'll jot it
What's the
down.
code?
Thank you.
I don't know the number. I know the
Would it help if you drew the keypad?
Yeah.
Do you want to draw the keypad?
Yeah.
I'm the same way, so.
His brain is fried right now. He can't even remember his
is.
code.
I don't know how many buttons are, but it's the top, bottom, left, top, bottom. I believe it's that one. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Like, so
One,
it's
two,
straight. It's
three,
straight
4, 5.
down. So 1, 2, 3, then back 2, then down to 5.
Okay. So they're just basically.
It's
so
straight
is
down.
it like this? Are the buttons like this?
Yeah, there's a few more down, but I don't touch those. The first 3. 1, 2, 3, up.
So 1, 2, 3,
Then back to 2, and then 3.
2, and then this
3.
one.
No,
3.
3.
Okay. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 3.
Yeah, it should be that one. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Okay. Wonderful. And just for the warrant that you see here, just verifying, of course, this is your name, this is your date of birth. We recognize that you're approximately 6'4", you're not very tall. And then we just use your approximate weight there. And I know you have more blondish, reddish hair,
Yeah.
but we went with your DL. And just if you know your DL number, we can verify that.
Yeah.
As you see here, it does state here that we have premises as well to enter your home at 8621 Chaparral Way.
Okay.
So we are going to attempt to do this in the quickest way possible and the way that is obviously going to, this can't be an easy process, we recognize that.
Yeah, my wife's
And we
freaked out
don't,
what's going on.
yes.
Okay.
Is your mom at your house right now?
She's not.
Okay. Your wife, she is at home?
She's at home.
Okay. Is it just your wife at home?
Just my wife. Yeah.
Okay. And her name is, okay,
We won't be sending any black and whites over to the house.
no,
Okay.
Just so that
you can,
puts you a
Is it
little
gonna be
bit at
tonight right
ease.
now?
Yeah.
Okay.
yes. So we're going to do this kind of systematically. The very first thing that we will do is, of course, the swab and the phone.
Yeah.
Do you have any other USB drives,
I don't,
anything
no.
like that on your
No.
person? I know sometimes for work we carry them around
Yeah.
with
No,
us.
I might have a USB in my locker, but that's just a work locker USB.
Okay. So we'll get that started.
Okay.
And then after that, we know that your employers want to speak with you. Again, we are investigating allegations, so they
Yes.
recognize that, but of course, you know, they have to take their action. We can't speak to that, but of course, they obviously want the opportunity to speak with you.
Yeah.
Then, of course, we'll process the locker and then process your vehicle.
Okay.
And again, we'll do it systematically and as quickly as we can
Okay.
to alleviate any additional stresses that this already is causing. And then we'll go ahead and go to your home, and we hope to be in and out fairly quickly.
Okay.
Okay.
Guess I'm staying here. I'm not going with you guys or anything like that.
So no, you are
Yeah.
not in custody. You are not under arrest. You are not even being detained.
Okay.
That's why you had the right to stop speaking with us at any time. There's no locks on the door. You had the opportunity
Yeah.
to leave if you choose to. And like I said, thank you for speaking to us as long
Yeah.
as
No
you did.
problem.
So if you have any questions, we are here. If it's okay with you, I'm just going to grab my lab technician to start that.
Okay. That's fine.
And where's your cell phone on you?
It's on my person right now.
Can we go ahead and grab that from you? Do you have
So you guys are gonna keep my phone?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have any other as far as your phone? Yes,
Put
we
in airplane mode.
Yes, for sure. I don't want to break your phone, and sometimes when we access it without your code, it could, I mean, who knows? So is it possible for us to get your code?
You guys would break my phone?
No, I'm just saying they will get into it like hard-wise, and I don't want to cause any damage to the phone if it's
He can't even comprehend anything at the moment. Like, all he
No.
heard was break my phone. He's like, you gotta break my phone?
Right. Yeah, I know. There's way too much going on. I mean, they said that they're going to his house
Yes.
where his wife is.
Yep.
That's the worst thing right now, because it definitely is getting out from just with him.
Yes.
So now there's his wife who is pregnant
Yep.
and is going to, I mean, he said before she's going to freak out, which of course would be a natural response.
Yeah. And like,
So it just adds more pressure to the situation.
it sure does. And, you know, in all these kind of, cases, like, that's what, like, just must be absolutely awful for, like, the partners and that involved. Like, you know, because you just think they'd be going about a normal day, and then all of a sudden their whole world is upended because of the actions of their partner. It's terrible. And you know, that's as you were saying, like, that's where his whole demeanor and like his brain is just fried now, because it's now, like you're saying, like, it's now very apparent that this isn't an interview, that I'm walking out of here and I'm going about my day. Like, everything's coming out now. They're going to my house. I'm going to be talking to my superiors after this. Like, it's any hopes of this going away is over now.
unnecessary.
I mean, you don't have my phone. I'd rather say no to that. No, I want a lawyer for this.
Okay.
Okay, swipe down so you can put an airplane mode.
Oh, okay. There we are. Okay. This is like a battery case?
Yeah, it's just an extra battery.
Do you want to keep that? Does it come off pretty easily?
Yeah, I can take it off for
Oh,
you.
that's all right.
She'll give the phone back.
What kind of iPhone is it?
Yeah.
C10, the X.
iPhone what?
X10.
Is it the original or is
The original
it one
X.
in the
There
original
we
X?
are. Because there's no need to take the battery
And
case.
is it updated with the latest iOS, whatever they
Should be, yeah.
sent out?
Everything should be updated.
Alright. Okay, so, do you have any questions as far as the warrant? Because I'm going to bring my lab technician in here so she can go ahead and guide you through it.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. And I'm going to keep the body worn camera and everything on.
That's fine,
okay?
yeah, I understand.
Do you have any other phones, like a department issued cell
I do,
phone or
no.
anything like that?
No.
Needing his DNA is definitely a bad sign.
Exactly.
May I ask,
You know, it's one of those things where, you know, he now knows that we're dealing with, you know, more than just my Snapchat activity. Like, we're dealing with the physical stuff I've done as well. Like, he must have been going through stages, and then that's why he kept trying to want to see photos and see this kind of stuff, because he's wanting to know, you know, how deep is this? Do they just know that I've been, you know, talking to these kids, and, you know, maybe I can go along the lines of, no, that's not me. Someone's impersonating me. They're trying to get me into trouble. Well, if you're getting swabs, you've got physical evidence. So I can't. That is out the table now, because you know that I've met up with this person, and this person is going to identify me. We're past being, you know, someone playing a terrible prank on me or whatever. We're fucked.
are you guys going to be taking stuff from the house like that? My wife might be like the bed stuff. I see it says here protecting sheets and stuff like that.
Yes, if it matches what it is that we're looking for based on
Okay.
our investigation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
a pretty big warrant.
It
Looks
really
like
is.
there's a lot of stuff listed. Must be. I mean, if they're looking for bedding, I wonder if he brought somebody to the house.
That's what I wonder. Because in none of
Yeah.
the like the text message or anything else I've seen, I haven't seen any mention of that. But
Hmm.
there must be a reason why that's on the warrant. And
Hmm.
all that information they're asking about bedside tables and all this kind of stuff. So I'm guessing he must have.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, those questions and would they have to take the bedding if they're just wanting to see and make sure that, oh, that's the same bedding I see in the photos.
Yep. Yep.
That seems a bit extreme, doesn't it?
It certainly does because of it. The photos they were talking about like are clearly photos of him and his wife or him and like another woman, whatever.
Hmm.
Like you know what I mean. Like there's been no suggestion that he's sending photos of him with these minors. So if like you wouldn't need like if you're taking them, it's for DNA purposes. So you're not going to need DNA if it's just to verify that yes, this is the photo that you have sent that was of you and your wife. Like, so
Yeah, that's what it seems like anyway. I mean, I guess I don't know for sure.
no, definitely.
Mm,
Like
think
we're
about that.
obviously speculating here, but I'd
Yeah.
have to imagine if the the extent of the betting is to go, we want to prove that this photo that you sent these kids is of you and your wife, and this is your betting.
Hmm.
This we can match to the photo. They don't.
Yeah.
They wouldn't need to process them because unless you believe one of these minors has been there, you're only going to find his DNA and her DNA, and you can already verify
Yeah.
just by looking that is them. So
Right.
that is interesting. And it was with when you commented on the size of the warrant, which it is a big warrant. When he was trying to read it, and they just kept asking him questions, like, like I
Hmm.
don't necessarily think they're doing anything intentional there, but like you could see the frustration building. Like he's having to read and then read, look up, like, and he's wanting to get across how deep it is, and he has to keep answering stuff about all this other shit.
Yeah, I mean, he's thinking, they just said that this was going to be a little interview. I'm not under arrest, but yet they have a warrant in front of me. They're going to go to my house
Yep,
and
they're
my
gonna.
wife's going to know. They're going to take my stuff.
Yeah, it,
They're they're doing a lot.
Exactly, and really in the space of a minute, it's gone from a chat, not detained, just getting information. We're only looking into allegations. To my car's getting processed. They've got my phone now. They're going to my house with my wife there. They're going to be taking items from my house. It's like
Hmm.
yeah, changed very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has been trembling hall the whole time we've been here.
He clenches his jaw a lot too.
He does,
I
doesn't
noticed
he?
that when he started looking through the papers.
Yep.
He hasn't turned the page in a while, so I'm wondering if he's just staring at it.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, there he goes.
Because I really don't think he can take much in at all at the moment.
No. I mean, I wouldn't be able to. I would be
God no.
freaking out.
God no, I'm not saying I'd be any like I reckon I'd be exactly the same, but
Yeah.
it's interesting to watch. Like it's interesting to watch him in this state because yeah, like you you just couldn't process it. Well, I always think with like people like this, like in the back of their mind, they must think or at least fear that this kind of day is coming. Like they must understand the huge risk it is, or do they just never think they're going to get caught?
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
They're thinking that they're not going to get caught. I mean, certainly he used to Snapchat for a reason,
Yep. Yep.
versus something like Instagram,
Yep.
so Snapchat would be easy. And certainly, I mean, he's just thinking that he hasn't been caught yet.
Yeah, so what would change?
So what would change? Yeah. And I would think that, he did reach out, like I said, to 41 that they know of
Yep.
using that particular account. I mean, I just feel like this had to have been going on for so long.
Exactly, like to be 41 that he's reached out to, it would have to be
Mhm.
a long time, far
Yeah.
longer than they're aware of. Because I mean,
Mhm.
in any crime, really, it's all escalation, isn't it? You know, and so
Certainly, yeah. Certainly in sex crime, which is what we're
exactly.
talking about. But yeah, there is escalation. So I'd be curious to know what's on his computer,
Yep.
what type of pornography he's
Yep.
been looking at. This sounds like a really intense fantasy that he
Mhm.
has. So I can't imagine that this just all of a sudden materialized, a month ago
No, that
or so, and he
because you
just
never
was like,
see
"Hey,
that.
I'm going to go on Snapchat."
Ex-
Sure.
exactly, and to get to the stage where he is met, you know, at least two that they know about.
Mhm.
Yeah, that just happened a few weeks ago. This is a lifelong kind of escalation to this point.
Mhm. He must be thinking too, like, wow, all of this stuff is happening and I had no idea.
That's it. They've got all of this evidence.
Yeah.
They've compiled so much, and he was completely oblivious.
Yeah, they've already went to the judge and they signed a warrant.
Yep.
Wow.
You must be thinking, what, like, how many more people know about this? Like, because even the coordination of this, I would have to imagine they would have had to have, to organise getting someone off shift, this room, and all that kind of stuff. So he's probably thinking, how many even in my department right now know about this?
Yeah, certainly he's going to be thinking, I just lost my job.
Yep.
Because now my bosses are going to want to talk to me after this. And
Yep.
so, yeah,
So
stop.
Jay, this is here. She's working with us, so she'll assist in just gathering the swab.
Okay.
So get some pictures. So she just takes pictures so we know who the swabs are connected to.
Okay. That's fine. Stand up.
Bit of a different picture than the one they were talking about earlier.
Yeah. He's also 7 years older.
He is. I don't think he'll be sending this one on Snapchat to anyone.
No.
Can I get a copy of that?
And that's your copy, Jay.
Okay. Thank you.
He's very calm.
He really is. Like it is. It's probably one of those, like the duck's feet pedaling underwater, but from the outside,
Sure.
he's incredibly calm.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess, like, in the police force, they probably get training on, how to remain calm and that. So he's probably got techniques to do that. But it's surprising, like, because he's got all of the information now. He knows he's completely fucked, but he still looks pretty calm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I thought there was.
That's okay. I got it. You're doing enough, Kara.
Thank you. Okay, open up your mouth really wide.
reading it again because I don't think he took anything in the last read.
No,
So,
it gives them something to do too.
I
That's
wasn't
true.
just obviously because we had to notify Bill that we were coming there. We're just going to come in and chat with you.
Yeah.
We'll kind of try and get everything started so we're not holding you up any longer
Okay.
than need be, and we're able to get you at least get out of here as soon as possible. So if you have any questions, we will be here. Don't hesitate to ask.
Am I going to get like a card or anything?
Yes.
You guys?
I'll give you that. And I'll give you the case number as well. It's
Okay.
on, it should be
Yeah.
somewhat listed on there, but sometimes it isn't on the warrant, so make
Okay.
sure. Alright, so case number. And I know you indicated that you would want to speak with a lawyer, so you can
Yeah.
give them my information. They can speak with me directly.
Okay.
Okay? Alright, I will go ahead and let them in here, and then, like I said, we'll just do some follow-up so you kind of know what our timeline is as we're
Okay.
kind of moving along.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
So,
So I had just looked up a little bit as far as dates are concerned.
yep.
And so, of course, it just skipped on me. Wait a second. Okay. So on April 9th, 2020,
Mhm.
the police department received 2 anonymous Crime Stoppers tips regarding an unidentified adult male suspect who engaged in sex acts with an underage victim. Investigators were able to identify the suspect and also determine that there were 2 additional underage victims. So, and then this interview happened on April 30th.
Okay.
So between that time is when they would have been working on gathering information, and, seeing what they needed. I mean, she had a thick file.
Oh yeah.
So that wasn't just her general file that she carries around with her to-do list. It was all regarding him.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of stuff already. And of course, they had their questions already decided.
Mhm.
They had a very specific plan. And so that's when that happened. And then he was finally arrested on July 22nd, 2020.
Okay. So yeah. So about 2 months after this. No, 3 months.
Yeah, 3 months exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
Wow.
So that must have been an interesting 3 months.
Wouldn't it have been?
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable. Yeah. His poor wife,
Yeah.
his poor family, just people who knew him. I mean, this is such a shocking crime, and I think that for a lot of things too, if somebody has a clear criminal history,
Mm.
if all of a sudden, they go and rob a store, it's going to be shocking to everybody. You're going to be like, what happened?
That's it.
Yeah, what happened to that? That's not the person that I've known. They've never gotten in trouble. And then certainly with something like this, it raises a lot of questions like, how long has he been flying under the radar? We thought we knew him
Yes.
when he's very clearly a pedophile. And, how many victims are there out there? This is just who we know.
Yes.
So how many are there? Yeah.
That's it. Like for the friends and family of these people, it just must be absolute. Like you'd question everything. It'd just be it'd be incredibly, incredibly devastating.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So he's in prison,
Mhm.
and he's only going to be 39 when he gets out.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they're still very young. I mean, yes.
It is. Yeah. In the context of things, when we look at other people who have been convicted or took plea deals,
Yes.
they were, well in their 30s or 40s. And so if you add out a sentence like that, certainly they're going to be much older. And so wouldn't necessarily have as much life left, but he's going to spend just 12 years, and then he's going to get out at a young age, really.
Yeah. Yep. It's for things like this, like that's what the registry is so important.
Yes.
And yeah, so he gets 12 years. I guess full charge would have been 18. So it's always hard to like, yes, like he pled guilty and was given lenient, like not leniency, but yeah, that was taken into consideration. But like,
Mhm.
how much you know what I mean? Like, I always think like this, like it's pretty slam dunk. Like he didn't like have much option but to plead guilty. Like he hasn't, you know what I mean? Like he hasn't given up anything. So I always never know how I feel about people getting a reduction in their sentence just for pleading guilty. But he did in any case. And
Yes, he did.
one thing we know for sure is he won't be on the force when he's when he's out of prison.
He won't be, and of course, being on the registry, that's such an important thing. It's such a massive public service,
Absolutely.
that needs to be there because he just looks like a normal person, and that's how I think 90% of the people do. I mean, some people you'd be like, oh,
Yep.
you're not exactly surprised. I think they can look kind of scary, maybe in your mind.
Mm.
You're thinking, yeah, that kind of looks like that type of a guy. Um, but a lot of them are going to look like Jaylen. He's a young guy too.
Yep.
So, it's really disturbing, I think, especially when you have someone who's in a position of authority,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's somebody in law enforcement. There's a huge influx of teachers that I'm hearing about, female teachers who are getting pregnant
Yes.
by their students. It's like, where can you have your kids go where they're not going to be preyed upon by adults? It's really incredibly sad. There's a lot of conversation around stranger danger, and
Mm.
don't just go with somebody who said, mom and dad got into a car accident, come with me.
Mm-hmm.
You hear about those like really classic um, scenarios that would be used to scare kids, and make sure like, hey, you can't just go in somebody's car because they say they're looking for their puppy or something, but there's extra things and to where they're told like, hey, you can go to a police officer, you can go to a teacher,
Yeah.
you can talk to your parents, you can talk to, you know, an adult, find an adult, just tell them. And when it's somebody like this, it just adds an extra level of fear. Who can you? The doctors have been convicted.
Yep.
Like I said, teachers have been convicted, law enforcement officers, pretty much everybody. I mean, I don't think that there's a single profession or type of a person that hasn't been, so, and especially for somebody being a police officer, to have a young child go to the police or do that Crime Stoppers. I mean, that is such a brave thing to do, like you said at the beginning, because if you go to the police, what's going to happen? Are you going to get in trouble?
Yeah. That's
Is your
right.
friend going to get into trouble? Is your friend then going to be mad at you? Because we're talking about really young kids.
That's right.
And so those are the types of things that they are going to be speaking about
Mm.
or thinking about, I should say. And yeah, that's incredibly brave. That's a really wonderful thing that those two people did
Mm.
to call in about this, because he was certainly not going to stop himself, and her friend was going to do it again
Yes.
because he was giving them money. So
Exactly.
this was going to turn into a really bad situation for even more kids, who were going to suffer, under his depravity. And certainly he was going to have his own child living in his home. Kids have friends, don't they?
They sure do.
So I mean, and for him with his background, he could have been a coach
Mm-hmm.
perhaps for his kids. And a lot of times when they're young, they play on co-ed teams,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So in the neighborhood, having neighborhood kids over, the possibilities are horrific to even think about. Um, and I just hope that when he gets out, that the community is going to be aware,
Mm.
that registry is going to be a deterrent, for him to make sure that he knows that he's known, and he's not going to be able to just be, the friendly guy, and yeah, it's really scary, just to imagine there's so many people that are supposed to be the ones that we can trust, that are supposed to help us.
That's exactly right. And um, when you're mentioning about the teachers, like that they previously that would be the that's you'd tell your kids to go to there, and then like with all these female teachers that are you know like you say getting pregnant, all this kind of stuff. Well, probably that would have been a lot of parents would have been like much more trusting of a woman teacher
Mhm.
than say a male teacher.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah, that could be.
doesn't but it's just and the if like with Jaylen Fleer, if he wasn't caught and there wasn't registry that the access that he would have to kids in all those things you mentioned, being a police officer, being a father, being someone that was big into baseball, and that the likelihood that he'd probably be a coach of a little leagues team or something, the access he would
Mhm.
have to children, and kind of that kind of above reproach kind of thing. Like you imagine like someone like him, if he was coaching a little leagues team, they also know that he's a police officer. Most parents would be like have full trust in him, and it'll just
Sure.
you know it's
Yeah.
incredibly scary.
Mhm.
Thankfully he's been caught.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not all of them are. So it can be a pretty scary little world out there.
It is. It is. And that's why it's so great that these stories are out here and we're able to see the interrogation, see the evidence, and at times we're able to see the court cases,
Exactly.
as things play out. Because it is so dangerous, and people do need to be made aware, certainly when it comes to social media and kids.
Exactly, and and it's still as relevant as now. And looking at things like TCAP, where like that when that first came out, kind of making people aware of what happens on the internet. Like this is the same kind of thing. Like people need to be aware of of what is there, and be able to kind of know things like an adult does not need, if you're a kid, an adult does not need help from you. There is no situation where if an adult comes up
Mhm.
to you and is like, hey, can you help me, they don't need your help. They're adults, so if they're asking
Mhm.
you for help, they are most likely don't have good intentions, you know
No, absolutely, and if they wanna talk to you, like,
that's right.
there's no reason why an adult is going to befriend a stranger's kid.
Exactly right.
There's
Like
absolutely no reason for that.
adults that are not, not this way inclined have no interest in talking to kids that are not their own. Like, I'm sorry to break it to you, but like that's just the way it is. If they're wanting to do that, they do not have good intentions, and that's because I think these days, because like you've got all these authority figures that in the past you would say these are ones you trust. Well, you can't trust them, so you need to kind of kids need to be making, using their intuition and the kind of those kind of things to stay safe. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's scary for kids, kids don't make good decisions.
no,
I mean, that's the nature of it. I remember I had, well, I still have a cousin, she's just older now, but
mhm,
when she was younger and should not have been on Facebook,
mhm,
she knew that. She was told she couldn't have an account,
mhm.
but guess whose account was found? Hers. You know?
Yep.
They're very sneaky, and I think that, they don't understand. They don't understand the danger that they're putting themselves in,
Mm.
and, there it is an incredibly dangerous it's a dangerous world just in the physical world, but also on the internet too, to where they are exploited, they are taken advantage of. People will use their immaturity against them in order to convince them to do things to, like I said, exploit them.
Mm.
You know, there are so many stories. It's really sickening and it's incredibly sad. You know, there's a lot that you can do to teach kids to be safe.
Yep.
At the same time, be aware that they don't make the right decisions. It's just a it's just a fact.
Well, that's right, and I think there's, I mean, because kids, especially when they're teenage, like they want to be older, and so they look,
Of
when,
course.
they look at things of what adults do, and they want to do that. But on top of that, the reason a lot of kids, I mean, there's a lot of reasons kids can't make good decisions, the way their brains
Mhm.
develop and that kind of stuff. But, you know, most kids, like especially if they've come from like a good environment, their dealings with all the adults that they've dealt with in their life are good people. You know what I mean? The adults they deal
Mhm.
with are their parents, their aunts and uncles. Like so they see adults as good people, and then when they come
Mhm.
across bad adults, they don't necessarily know how to identify that.
That is true, and they're also told to trust
Yeah,
adults as well,
yeah,
and to listen to what they say. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's scary.
it is. But that's it. The more awareness, more awareness, the better.
Of course.
And then it's nice to go through cases like Jaylen, Fleer, and see that they have been caught. That's always quite cathartic.
Definitely. Yeah. And I had seen this interrogation pop up for years,
Yep.
on my feed, and I never watched it until recently.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that to finally get through it, and understand what his case was like, what he was looking at.
Me too. And as we talked about when we were preparing for this, where it's good. It was good to kind of, when we only briefly talked through the context about the text messages and that kind of stuff. And
Mhm.
anyone that wants to know more about this case, I will link in the description both the link to this interrogation, also this channel. So the channel that we've taken this from is called Axon Transparency. So check them out, because they also have a few other videos there. They have the record of his locker search, his person search, and then also obviously the text messages. So go over and give them a look, because we greatly appreciate having this. It's one of the few places I could find which had the interrogation, without any kind of commentary on it. Um,
Sure.
so, but yeah, but it was, I think, important to give that, because the way this kind of interview goes, and the great job that the interrogator does in keeping it light, and that the kind of first few times I had listened to it, like, you didn't realize how depraved this guy was, because obviously, she's keeping it light and that so that he'll keep talking that kind of stuff. But yeah, he's a real disgusting person.
Absolutely he is. Yes.
So that's probably a good place to leave this one on. So
Mhm.
it'd be not bit of nice to do something other than Casey. And I've enjoyed this interrogation, so I think we'll do more of those in the future.
Yes.
But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we will be back next week with something different.